The Galactic Combat Academy's training arena fell silent as Eliana stepped onto the crystalline floor. Around her, cadets from a dozen species watched with barely concealed amusement. A human. Here. The audacity alone was worth the price of admission. "Begin Defensive Protocol 7, announced Instructor Vaxor, his 4 eyes gleaming with something between curiosity and contempt. "Cadet Mateo, you're up." Mateo rose from the observation deck, his jaw tight. He'd been at the academy for 3 cycles now, enduring the whispers, the sideways glances, the assumption that humans were nothing more than death-world curiosities with delusions of grandeur. Now his own species mate would face the trial that had broken him twice before. The arena's holoprojectors flickered to life, materializing a towering Craxian warrior, 9 feet of armored exoskeleton and razor-tipped claws. It was a simulation, but the weapons were real enough. Vaxor tossed Eliana a standard-issue plasma lance, the weapon spinning through the air. She didn't catch it. The lance clattered to the ground and laughter rippled through the observation deck. Eliana stared at the weapon, then at the advancing Craxian simulation, her dark eyes unreadable. "Pathetic," muttered a Velcarian cadet. "They send their females now? What's next, their younglings?" Mateo's fists clenched. He wanted to shout that Eliana had survived the collapse of Nueva Manila, that she'd walked through hell itself to reach the refugee ships. But words meant nothing here. Only performance mattered. The Craxian simulation charged. What happened next would be analyzed in tactical courses for the next decade. Eliana moved. Not away from the threat, but into it. Her movements fluid and impossibly fast. She slid beneath the simulation's first strike, her hand snapping out to grab Mateo's sidearm from his holster as she passed the observation deck's force barrier. The magnetic seal shouldn't have released for anyone but him. It did anyway. The arena's proximity scanner shrieked a warning. "Weapon transfer unauthorized. Combat parameters exceeded." Eliana fired 3 times. Each shot struck with surgical precision. Joints, visual sensors, the simulation's central processing core. The Craxian collapsed in a shower of sparks before it completed its second step. Silence crashed over the arena like a physical weight. She didn't even look at the target," whispered a Threen observer, his translator struggling with the inflection of shock. But Eliana wasn't finished. She turned, the borrowed weapon still in her hand, and faced the observation deck. Specifically, she faced Cadet Torvin, a Draknor warrior who'd spent the last month making Mateo's life miserable. "Protocol 7, Eliana said, her voice carrying in the stunned quiet. "Defensive measures against overwhelming force. You programmed that scenario for humiliation, not training." Torvin's scales flushed crimson. "You dare accuse Instructor Vaxor," Eliana continued, ignoring the interruption. "Permission to demonstrate appropriate defensive response." Vaxor's mandibles clicked, the Zenthari equivalent of a confused frown. "Against what opponent?" "All of them." The arena exploded with protests, but Eliana's gaze never wavered. Mateo felt his heart hammering. He knew that look. He'd seen it once before, in the ruins of their city, when she'd pulled him from beneath a collapsed building with strength that shouldn't have existed. "Accepted," Vaxor said, his voice cutting through the chaos. "System, initialize combat scenario Omega. All available combat simulations. Simultaneous deployment." "Instructor, that's suicide!" Mateo shouted, finally finding his voice. The holoprojectors hummed. Around Eliana, 5 enemies materialized. Craxian, Velcarian, Threen, Draknor, and a Zenthari warrior form. Each was programmed with the combat knowledge of their respective species' greatest fighters. Eliana dropped Mateo's weapon and picked up the plasma lance she'd initially ignored. The arena's combat scanner activated automatically, its sensors designed to classify threat levels and combat efficiency. The display flickered, numbers and categories scrolling past at impossible speeds. Then it stopped. 3 words appeared in glowing red letters across every display screen in the facility. Unclassified apex predator. That's impossible, Vaxer breathed. The system only flags apex designation for... Eliana moved. What followed wasn't a fight. It was a masterclass in controlled violence. She used the plasma lance like an extension of her body, deflecting, striking, redirecting momentum. The Craxian went down first, its own strength turned against it. The Velcarian speed meant nothing when Eliana simply wasn't where the attacks landed. The Threen's tactical programming couldn't account for improvisation that bordered on precognition. Mateo watched, transfixed. As Eliana dismantled each opponent with minimal movement and maximum efficiency, there was no wasted energy, no flourish, just brutal, elegant effectiveness. The Draknor simulation lasted longest, its programming adaptive and aggressive. Eliana finally ended it by using the destroyed Craxian's arm blade, retrieved mid-combat, to pierce the simulation's shield generator. 47 seconds. 5 elite combat simulations. Complete victory. The arena's medical sensors screamed warnings. Eliana's heart rate, adrenaline levels, oxygen consumption, all exceeded safe parameters by factors that should have resulted in system failure. But she stood there, breathing hard but steady, the plasma lance resting against her shoulder. "Scan error," Torvin declared, his voice shaking. "Obviously a malfunction." "No malfunction," Vaxer interrupted. His expression had transformed from contempt to something approaching religious awe. "The scanner recognizes patterns, combat efficiency, threat response, adaptability. It found no classification in our database because..." He turned to Eliana. "Because humans have no classification. You're from a death world we barely survived surveying. Your entire species evolved as persistent predators on a planet that actively tries to kill everything on it." Mateo felt the weight of every stare in the arena shift, not to him, but past him, to Eliana, to humanity. "The galaxy has spent millennia classifying apex predators by their homeworld," Vaxer continued. "Craxians from high-gravity forge worlds, Velcarians from speed evolution ecosystems, but Earth?" His mandibles spread in what might have been a smile. "Earth created something unprecedented. A species that hunts not with claws or venom or armor, but with endurance, strategy, the ability to turn anything into a weapon." Eliana finally lowered the lance. "Defensive Protocol 7 teaches you to survive overwhelming force by retreating strategically. On Earth, we call that evolution. We learned to survive everything our world threw at us, every predator, every climate, every disaster." She looked directly at Torvin. "You wanted to humiliate us. Instead, you just reminded the galaxy why humanity didn't ask permission to join your academy." She tossed the lance to Mateo, who caught it reflexively. "We took it," she finished simply. As Eliana walked toward the exit, the observation deck parted before her like water. Mateo followed, pride and something deeper, ancient and primal, surging through his chest. Behind them, the arena scanner continued its analysis, 3 words still glowing on every screen. Unclassified apex predator. In the coming cycles, the term would enter Galactic Combat Academy doctrine. A new classification, a warning, human,